course, the Vajra practice is the generally that is the principal practices, and addition practice is then this Jimsek practices. In the Tibet language, it's called the Jimsek. In the Sanskrit, it's known as Yagja or the Homa, and then I think commonly named as fire puja, we call it. But it is more than fire puja. It is visualization, it is meditation, it is vipassana practices, it is shamatha practices, combined with the glorified bodhicitta, love and compassion, kindness, joy, all the goodness quality that inherited in our nature and mind is pulled up and brought up together and practicing today here. So therefore, Vajrayana practice is considered the most powerful practice, because it's not just only emphasizing one aspect of nature of the mind, but it's bringing all the goodness qualities, every aspect, surface, deep, side, on top, bottom, every aspect of the beauty of the mind, the natural quality, which is often known as the Buddha nature. That I think many of you maybe heard that name. That really bring up this. So this practice of the Vajra practice of Vajrayana practice is not just murmuring the mantra itself and that, but if you really concentrate your mind with the sound, with the breath, with the energy, with the open, with the love, with the compassion, with the kindness, and you are middle of that all glorify the beauty of the nature of the mind. That's why this is Vajrayana practice is known as the most powerful speed practice of the getting enlightenment or fulfill our goal, that we can benefit it to all beings. So therefore, that is what we practice. For example, when we recite in the mantra, we're not just reciting the mantra in every can. We are reciting the mantra with meditation, with commonly known as shamatha, vipassana combined together. Your breathing, your air, your mind, your energy, all condensed in one single state with love and joy and compassion. That is so most powerful practice. Very soothing, calming, and very beautiful, rewarding practices. That is what the Vajra practices. When we visualize the Vajra, for example, in the beginning time, many of you know that we went to the Dharma, read, and so I don't have to repeat it again and again that because then you receive this teaching. That means we have to keep that practice, not just a record. Oh, I want that practices, I want that teaching, I want that. If we started thinking that, then we are not almost like we are kind of ignoring the practices. We're not really keeping up the practice up to current. But you sense you went so many teachings and so many practices. This is now we are keeping up that. We are in that status. For example, in the beginning time here in the Om Mahashunyata Jnana Bandhar Swabhava Atma Kumi. This is the reminding of our meditation, our Dzogchen meditation, our Vipassana meditation, our Shamatha reminder of the Shamatha meditations. That means removing all the duality, habitual pattern, fabrications that is bothering our life after life. We put that completely removed or read out. We are sitting right center of the true nature itself. Self in this, that is the reminding. And so this is such a, look at this, so how beautiful this practice begins. Om Mahashunyata. Om. Om is all this phenomena existing. Om generally symbolizes the body aspect of the Buddha. Buddha often known as this form, formation. And of course also Om has meanings. Sanskrit language has many different actual meanings to that. But this time Om is all the formation, all phenomena existing. That all phenomena existing is also so harmonizing, so auspicious. Auspicious means harmonizing. How beautiful, how balanced. But yet it is, as it said, Mahashunyata. Maha means great. Great. And Shunyata means emptiness, the openness, the great openness, the great emptiness, great infinite. This means all phenomena existing of this is great openness, great harmonizing, and great infinite status. That Shunyata, Mahashunyata, openness, is not just vague Shunyata, vague, blank emptiness. That's what he said, Jnana Vajra. Jnana is wisdom. Wisdom many times we think is kind of intelligence. It's true, is intelligence and knowledge. But wisdom is combined with compassion. The true wisdom is compassion. True wisdom is love, is caring, concerning, knowing of the what things happening in the phenomenal world. Exactly. Therefore, you're outreaching, unconditional outreaching, call it, spontaneous, without burden, without heavy. That is the intelligence. So this great Shunyata is filled with that jnana. Jnana is a Sanskrit word, again, wisdom, the primordial wisdom. And then what it said next, Vajra. Vajra, of course, many of, again, you all know this. Vajra is indestructible, unchangeable, unbreakable. This nature of love and compassion and wisdom that filled with openness is inseparable, unbreakable, indestructible. That is the beauty of the nature of this mind. Yet, even though it is unbreakable, even though it is indestructible, yet it has no kind of like burden to us. For example, our love and compassion is filled with the nature of the mind, but there is no burden. No, it's kind of like any kind of like this dragging. It is so open and so relaxed, yet is indestructible, in inseparable status. And that is what we are practicing here. Vajra Sadhu practice is what practicing. Compassion and love together, and wisdom, that is practice. And Vajra is practice, that is what is practices. And that then is what said, Sobhava. Sobhava is what? This beautiful openness, the great emptiness, intelligence, wisdom, inseparable, is not just bought from somewhere else, or it came from somewhere else, or is now kindly we got that little while ago, or once in a while we get that. But no, it is nature. Therefore, Sobhava means nature. It's a natural qualities. It is with us. And today, for example, practice of Vajra Sattva, Jimsa practice, we're revealing that qualities. This is hidden, blurred, obscured by our own actions of the ego clingings, egomaniacs, and ego obscurations. It was obscured, not just obscured for one time or few times. This has been the life after life, because ego is very tricking. Ego is very naive in one way. And ego is many times play a very kind of low-key, naive. It tricks us. And it's manipulation. It manipulates. It carried, and then what it does, it just drags down us, pull down in the ditch, one after another. And therefore, habitual pattern, the bad habitual pattern is so easy to catch. It's kind of soothing in one way. That is tricking. Ego is the tricking. And ego is obstacle. But this nature is always abiding, no matter whatever the situation, circumstances we go through, is all the time. And that's what it said. It's Sobhava. This Sobhava. And then next sentence here, what it said, next word, Atma, Kuham. Atma means ego. Atma is ego. And Atma is grasping and clinging. Grasping and clinging, no matter whatever we're grasping, clinging, it is source of pain, source of sufferings. When we don't have the grasping and clinging, our nature flows so beautifully. Love and compassion and wisdom comes so easily, and this is always, it brings the bright, always bright. But ego and grasping and clinging, it is obstacle. And therefore, this is free from the obstacle. Atma Kohim. Free from the Atma, free from the ego. So this is really in one way, this whole sentence, this Sanskrit is the reminding of all our practices, or this is the condensed practice of our Vajrasattva. Gymstic practices, Vajrasattva practice. Then it went a little bit elaborated it's translated. I don't have to translate. And how beautiful she said. All phenomena of samsara and nirvana are originally unborn emptiness from all phenomena of the samsara and nirvana are originally unborn emptiness from which then unceasing emanation of compassion. And this is so beautiful, no? When you chant this, it's so calming, so soothing. We reached both to the new levels of where we used to be. It's something very soothing, and that all begins. And then the beautiful display begins, one after another, the unfolding display of the Vajrasattva. So beautiful. This is the words of the Ngorpe Masambo, words of the great master Junmi Dorje, the Melning Techi. It's a Vajra word. Each sentence really begins so beautiful, it's unfolding, so this soothing, calming. There's no kind of like partitions or kind of provocations, blur, so calm and soothing. You just kind of almost like that, what's called? Sailing your sailboat with a calm ocean. You reach the cruise level, completely cruise level, relax and rest, and there's nothing. Now enjoy the panorama of the beauty. And that's really how it is. And all that begins. So this is what we practice. And this is the all combination of the, like, as I said, shamatha practices, vipassana practice, all that. For example, when we recite the mantra, not just kind of reciting the mantra and mind is wandering everywhere. But when you recite the mantra, stay with that sound. Stay with this pray what you chant. Radiating light, compassion, love, and all this, then we are really the most powerful state of meditation. Vipassana meditation, all that. Not just a kind of like forceful meditation, just a kind of holding so steadily and like this. But we relax, and yet we experience the mostly deepest state of the nature of the mind and nature and all that. So therefore, when we recite the mantra again, with this, trying to bring up those beautiful qualities. Look at this here. This, what it does. All this is not just so we are reciting the mantra, saying this word with the up and down, but here, for example, in page 17, here said. And you read. We read this, spreading light and making offerings to noble ones, and gathering all their blessings, and purifying the obscurations of all the sentient beings, not just one or two or three or four, or not just groups, but all the beings purifying. And then that again brings what? The light returns and merges in the one's mantra garlands. And so beautiful actions all happening while we recite the mantra. All beautiful beneficial activities really happening, invisible in the Sarva highway in a way, Sarva Dhamma highway, that you're sending, emanating that in performance. And that's why all those great masters achieved such a high realization. These masters, we call orphan masters, but they are great practitioners. They practice it. They're great, have the courage and commitment, the joyful effort, love and compassion. That's what we call the great masters. And they did this practice in performing all these beautiful activities and actualizing many different levels of the fulfillment to benefit it to one's own or themselves to the others.